And hello everyone and welcome to this new stream here on Access the Animus. My name is Marco and today we are streaming at last the Dawn of Ragnarok DLC for Assassin's Creed Valhalla. And we're going to share our first, well, I am going to share my first impressions after testing the DLC over the weekend. We're going to answer all your questions that you have about the DLC, if they're not too spoilery. And of course, you might have seen already that we are also going to give away 3 codes for the expansion. So, welcome to the stream. Let me check if everything is working properly. There we go. Okay. Oh, hello, Daruda. Welcome to the stream. Atef, welcome. Crafting Ranger, welcome. Nice to see you again, guys. So many people from yesterday already. Matteo, welcome to the stream. Yeah, we don't have a Raven apparently. Apparently, in that specific area, we couldn't use it, but yes, you can. Use a Raven. I don't know why we can't now. This is very no. You can use the Raven in Svartalfheim. Hello Sri, hello Abdallah, Kakper, welcome to the stream. Shell Bowdler, welcome to the stream. Let me see if the video is working properly. Okay. Just got the microphone close. Okay. Oof. Okay. I think everything is fine now. Okay. Hello, Jeremy. Welcome to the stream. Yes, I got to play the entire story. We're still setting up everything. Okay. So, our Sari is showing us the map for the DLC. You can check it. Can we zoom out? There's 3 main regions called Gulnamar. That's the first region. Svaladal. I would call it the second region. You can obviously face all of them at the same time. And the suggested power is pretty much the same. And then I3 at the center. That's where Surtur resides. Hello, Jaraptor said that the game is only 13 hours, but you be marketed at 45 hours. We're gonna talk about that as well today. I do agree that the story is around 10 to 12 hours. Our Serenica, another member of the Mentors Guild who also is part of the Access the Animus team, who played on easy, was able to finish the story in 7 hours. So you can match that with 40 euros or dollars. Not really nice. Hello, Matteo. Welcome to the stream. It's your birthday today. Happy birthday! Happy birthday, Matteo. We'll try and do our best to celebrate and while showing you a bit of the DLC. In the code that we were provided with, we also got the pre-order pack that you can see on Odin right now, and we also have that Panther that I think Sari selected, or not. Left arrow. No. Or maybe you can call it. You cannot call it there. You can do that. So yeah, like I mentioned, we are going to answer all your questions. If your question get lost in the chat, feel free every now and then to rewrite it. Just don't bump it too much. As you can see, this is the world of Svartalfheim. It's a mix of green areas, a lot of lava, of course, and there's a lot of a lot of ice as well. I think that the Raven is not available because we are meant to do the first part of the story. We saved you from the introduction because it's pretty spoilery. As for what happens specifically to one character that is not here right now. Before we move on to the story, we can show you one of the dwarven shelters. This is one of the shelters. As you can see, it's one of the worst, honestly. There's 5, I think, in the game. And you can see that there are shops. On the left there was one, I think, inside the room there. That's a classic shop. And if you go on the map, you can see all the services that can be provided by that specific shelter. We got the blacksmith, the trading post, the stable, and Reda's shop. And Reda is one of the elements. Matthew, your birthday too! Happy birthday! We are going to show you something in a few moments, and this is for the hardcore fans among you. Kayetan, what a question. Do you prefer Cassandra's, Evie's, or Eivor's feet? Let's move on without answering. And let's move to this. In the Isu times, even within the Norse mythology veil, we have Reda. And we have this dialogue. I'll let you listen.
Flogging your shiny trinkets as usual?
It's good to see you too. Still, I wonder how many more times our paths shall cross like this.
A fair few, I'm sure.
Really? Though the twilight approaches.
Not for a long time yet.
You speak with the certainty of one who can see into the future.
My eye can see very far indeed.
And yet you are so short-sighted.
When the
Plot
twilight
twist.
comes, it will not be for me.
Perhaps you are not as unique as you like to think.
You two have a plan. For Ragnarok.
Loki has tutored me in many things, and I have put his lessons to good use in ways that not even he could ever dream of.
He has misled many.
You most of all, from what I hear.
You speak above your place, imp.
Then let me get back into my place, I want. Care to buy any shiny trinkets, as usual? I am always happy to relieve you of your hard-bound opals. And if you have no opals, I can help you earn them.
Another of your schemes. Fine. Tell me what you have in mind.
There are many who envy my success, Harry. Vicious individuals who seek to sabotage my noble plans. Luckily, the sons of Vivaldi are more sympathetic to my situation. They too are eager to see my enemies brought to heel.
You mean you bribed them?
Gold and silver may have lost their value here.
So yeah,
Or still have needs.
you can see this. There is a sort of proper explanation as to why Reda, or like a hint as to why Reda is alive in different games and different historical periods. He is an Isu, supposedly, and he found a way to survive the Toba catastrophe. This is just a tiny thing. You will not... I'm not sure, but I don't think you can do anything else with Reda in terms of story in the DLC. So there's only this dialogue, and then it's this similar usual system of the contracts and opals kind of stuff. So many questions already. Tommaso, does the DLC feel like a filler, just like the other two, or does it have big lore implications? This might already tie into the first impressions about the DLC. I'm gonna say it doesn't feel like it's just there, because there are some context elements, story elements that tie into Ragnarok and the Toba catastrophe, but it's like it's side information or corollary information. At the end of the DLC, there's a post-credit scene that is kind of interesting, but overall, most of the story doesn't feel to be substantial towards the Isu lore. I mean, it does have elements of the Isu lore, some elements, as we hypothesized, about stuff from the past, without going into details, from the past, like before the Isu that we know. Other than that, there's a lot of mythological mumbo jumbo for sure. You can expect that. So yeah, you can see the story that we're gonna see here. Like, this is the first story arc. It's the one that was shown already in the footage released to the press and some influencers about Glod, the son of Surtur. So we're going to try and liberate this area from his control, and get to know what he is looking for and why he's having some of the dwarves dig the land in order to find ancient artifacts. Yeah, it doesn't have the Reda doesn't have the classic Isu yellow lines on the body. The classic lines that were introduced with Odyssey and that were dropped. But anyway, he's a descendant of one or an Isu, managed to possess him. But what the hell? Yes! Does it feel post-campaign? Yes, in that this takes into account the Asgard and Jotunheim arcs fully, in that there are characters that reference what Odin did in Jotunheim, where he stole the mead, where he fought Jupiter / Suttungr, where he met Juno / Hyrrokin. There's at least this DLC recognizes what happened in the past, which is already a step forward compared to Wrath of the Druids and Siege of Paris. Any Isu weapons? Nah. The short answer is nah. Like, I completed the story and cleared out the entire map, other than to offering altars, which I can't be bothered completing. I can be bothered to complete. But other than that, I think I found almost everything apart from one thing that is sort of hidden. We might try and look for it later in the stream. So no, there's no proper Isu weapons. There's mostly mythological stuff, so you can get another hammer. You can find 3 more Atgears, which is the new weapon that is introduced with this DLC, and so on. I guess that's something, yes. Considering where we stand and where we stood with Wrath of the Druids and Siege of Paris, yes, that's already something. I have a question. I pre-ordered the Dawn of Ragnarok on PC, but still can't preload. I honestly don't know about preload. We were handed a PC code, and it worked normally, so I'm not sure. Sari is looking for where to go. So in the DLC, can you go back to the map? Basically, the main story arcs, they do start from the shelters, but there's no pointers to where they are. So in order to find them, you need to look at the map, where in the uncovered map there are designs of the shelters, like this one. This is not the one that we're looking for. There should be another one. That's the one in this first region. So we need to go there. And when we get there, the shelter is located underneath. We can see some flocks of birds flying over it, and there's also some signs on the ground left by the Sons of Evil D, which are introduced in the DLC not as actual sons of the dwarf Evil D, but it's more like an organization of people that are trying to. It's like the resistance here. Like they are operatives. They are handling operations while trying to resist the invasion, or like where the dwarves are hiding in the shelters. They are helped by this organization called the Sons of Evil D. What's the thing that you didn't manage to find? It should be a weapon, and it's basically an area that is not really on the map, and that I've heard Serenica, Sorasis, the other member of the team that played the DLC, that she found yesterday. So we can try and look for it. Basically, there is an area. There are some dams in the game. Basically, they are frozen. There are frozen dams, and if you get at the base of these dams, there are some sort of like vortexes, and you cannot get inside of them. But because if you get closer, they kind of like absorb your life, and you need to have something on you, equipped on you, in order to get past. And so we can try and see what that is. It should be a weapon, and it has a boss fight tied to it, for what I heard. So we're gonna try and see that. Can you show us the order menu? Yes, but there's no order menu. Like the order menu that you see here is the one from the main game. So there's no order game, even though we will be able to find some mercenary-like enemies, like the zealots in the main game. There's 8 of them, I think. 3 are tied to the Muspels, and 5 are tied to the Jotnar. And basically, if you kill these 3 zealots like Muspels, you're gonna get 3 fragments of an headgear. So when you get all 3 of them, you're gonna get a new headgear. And if you kill the 5 Jotnar, you're gonna get the Jotnar outfit or set or whatever. This is one of the indicator of the various powers that we can get. It's the one that we already have. So we can get powers for Odin, as we can see here. We already get the power of Muspelheim, so we cannot get it anymore. If you look at the lower right of the screen, there's this circle with the symbol of the power of Muspelheim. That's like the green one with the tiny little foot there. It's basically there to tell us that we can walk on lava when we get the chance. So Sari is going to try and do that. You need to defeat 5 Suttungur's Outriders to get the Jotun armor. Yes, pretty much. Exactly. That's what you need to get to get through the damn portals. The game started, you already know everything. I was trying to make it mysterious, but you ruined everything. Can you land wherever you want when using the Raven? Pretty much, yes. It's more like when you are transformed into a Raven, you can aim at the various locations on the ground or whatever, and it's going to show you an indicator of where you can land and where you cannot. But pretty much every area on the map can be used, and you can land on any kind of area, which is pretty cool. Traversal in the game and the gameplay in general is very good. It's as good as how bad the story is, pretty much. So I have to be honest, I enjoyed the gameplay in the DLC, as much as it doesn't make sense within AC, within Assassin's Creed, but it's pretty good to toy with. It improves pretty much everything in every pillar, and that also depends on what was improved with patch 1.5.0. So now stealth works, and social stealth works as well when you're doing when you're using the power of Muspelheim or the power of Jotunheim, so you can hide and walk amidst your enemies without them noticing you, which is pretty cool. And using the power of the Raven allows you to just get to the synchronization points immediately, which it kind of removes the fun to climb to get to your destination, but you can still do that, of course. But if you don't want to go through all the climbing, you can just fly to the top of the synchronization point, and you're done in like 5 seconds, which is pretty cool. In the arena, did you find Sutungur? No. And the builder? No. I'm gonna be honest there. What we are seeing and fighting in the arena is not part of the story. I'm gonna get there. Let's try and show you how the power of Muspelheim work. So we activate that with the dorsal R2 button and the left in this case, and it has a very limited time for it to work. We already consumed half of it, so you need to be very careful. And the bad thing about the powers in this game, in this DLC, is that you cannot. And we got the fire giant helmet, but well, you're not gonna die. You're just gonna get burnt. So try and not stay on the lava too much. Okay. What was I saying? I forgot what I was about to say. Anyway. No, the DLC is not.
Valkyrie Arena.
Yes. So what we're going to see in the Valkyrie Arena is not canon, in that the enemies that we are fighting with Odin are basically part of the story that he's telling about his past victories. So we're going to fight Surtur there. We're going to fight Loki there, but it's not part of the story or the canon. The enemies are not going to talk. We're going to fight some of the human characters from Valhalla's main game. It's just pretty much a gameplay mode. It doesn't have a story other than Odin telling of his old victories. So Odin is telling about his first encounter with Surtur, where he won, and that's pretty much it. But there's not any kind of story in there. Just flavor text, pretty much. Can you show us what it looks like dual wielding Adgears? I think we can, not now, because we don't have 2 Adgears, but later in the stream, we're going to jump to a further memory, so we're going to use a different save file, and there we're going to have enough weapons to do the dual wielding, which I didn't try. That's a cool idea, honestly. Odin is Isu, though, is he not? Yes, he is, as far as I know. They would still be Isu nonetheless. Did you find any Easter eggs like the one in Siege of Paris? Yes. There's... oh, no, I mean, if you're talking about Isu language, I haven't found any kind of Isu language. Maybe it's pretty hidden, like the one in Siege of Paris. I cleared the entire map, but that doesn't mean anything, because the Isu language in Siege of Paris was in Saint Denis, but the area in itself didn't have any indicator, if I recall correctly. But then again, it had the name Saint Denis, which was a good indicator. So yeah, when we get close to the shelter, then we need to look for signals on the ground. There should be some. You need to go not with Sunin, but like really on by foot, and there should be some signs on some barrels. Try and look around. There should be some close by, hopefully. And if you can't find them, you can get closer to the flocks of birds and see if we can find them. So yeah, I haven't found any Isu language yet, but there we go. Try and go there. If you look at the cart here, there should be, see, there's an arrow there. It tells us we have to go straight, and we have to look for other elements that tell us where we have to go. So see, there's a barrel here. It tells us to go left, and we have to follow other signals like this one, pretty much. Modern Day has new archives. I'm not sure. I don't think so, but I haven't checked. We should check that as well. Please remind me later. I don't think it's here. It was in the woods, I think. There was an entrance that you had to dive inside. Sari is already getting annoyed by not finding the shelter. We have a lot of patience today. Can I do a manual save when I start the expansion so I can replay later? Yes, that's pretty much what we're doing now. So like I completed the entire DLC, and then I went back to my first save file, and that's where we are right now, pretty much. I think it's around here. There we go. That's where we have to go. So this is the entrance for the Grand Hellier shelter. It's the one that we have already seen in the videos that have been released recently, and it's the one within the crystal cave, which is pretty nice to look at. And we're gonna see some huge crystals. The map is an old version of Vinland. I'm not sure. I haven't checked that yet. I've had someone else ask me. Ask us today about the map and what it is meant to represent. Still have to check. Can you give us a hint about Eivor's role in the story? Yes, I can, without going too much into spoilers. Pretty much what happens here is I'll try and not be too negative about it, but pretty much Eivor is having new memories or like new dreams for no reason. There's no reason why she's having these new triggers. She just has them, and so she goes to Valka to tell her, hey, I'm having these new visions. It's about fire and lava and Odin and Frigg, that is Odin's wife, and pretty much at the beginning, Eivor goes, like in our latest video, we shared, well, not latest anymore, but like we shared that there's going to be a building in Ravensthorpe. It's actually not a building, but it's a tree, and it's a tree that has mistletoe over it, so you might get the connection. And Eivor goes to sleep under that tree, and she goes for the first time in Svartalfheim, in the intro that we didn't show you today. And then Eivor goes back to Valka. She creates a concoction for her to go to Svartalfheim. So the role of Eivor is there's a scene towards the end where Eivor has to like Odin is facing his fears, let's put it like that without going into details. Eivor also is supposed to confront her fear, like she does confront her fears, and eventually something will happen, and I will not mention anything more. How long did it take you to finish the DLC? that's the point of contention right here. I think we can address it at this point. The story, it took me 10 to 12 hours ish to complete the story. I'm gonna 10 to 12. It really depends on how much time you spend fighting, but other than that, yes. And to clear out the entire map, it was 25 hours. So not the 30, not the 35, not the 40 hours that have been mentioned by Ubisoft at different stages. That was absolutely... And I'm a slow player. Like, I usually am very slow at playing any kind of open world RPG, and AC in particular. I get distracted so many times, and so I don't clear a specific area with the various activities that I have all around me. If I want to go to a place, I just go there, and that means I travel way more than I should. And I did that with this DLC as well, and it was 25 hours. I don't know. So not a good look, I don't think, at all. And being a hardcore fan, even more, that the DLC is worth $40. So first impression is, if you are a hardcore fan, considering the price of the expansion, I would suggest you to either wait for some discounts, check the gameplays online, unless you want to witness the story for yourself, of course. But I was very, very much disappointed by how vague and confusing the mythological parts are, which is pretty much 95% of the DLC. Like I mentioned in yesterday's stream and in other videos, there's not a lot of anchor points here, so you don't know how to interpret all the things that you're seeing in front of you. So there is some Isu stuff. You get this is Isu stuff, but you don't get what that is. Any kind of interpretation goes because you don't have any data to support your hypothesis for many of the things that happen in the DLC. So it's really confusing. Sometimes it gave me the feeling of Fate of Atlantis, with the difference that this story, these are memories, so we know that in a way some of this happened. We don't know how it happened, what it was meant to do. It's very vague. There is a MacGuffin I'm not going to say what it is, but there is a MacGuffin in the story. And you have to look for it. It does stuff to people, but up until the end of the DLC, Odin keeps asking, "What does it do? What does it do?" And nobody knows. And he gives this MacGuffin to people, to characters. They study on it, and he gets back to them, and they say, I didn't get anything about it. I'm sorry. You just left me with this thing, but I don't know what to do with it. I don't know what it does. Apparently, Surtur does, but he never says it. So he's like the villain, and it doesn't even have like the classic villain dialogue. So it's really, it has some a good chunk of issues, and I have I still have to go back and re-watch or replay the entire story, because I'm sure I am missing some details here and there. But something that got me really, really mad is that a key event happens off screen, and I hated that so much. Like, I really, 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 really hated that. When I told Sari about this, she was, how could that happen off screen? It's one of the few things that were referenced in the main game, and it happened off screen. But anyway, yes, so the DLC is not available. I'm seeing some of the comments in the chat. The DLC is not available yet. It's going to be available in 2 days on March the 10th. This is early access that was kindly provided through the Mentors Guild program by Ubisoft. So yes. And again, thanks to Ubisoft, today we're going to have a giveaway of 3 codes. So I'm going to explain a bit of the rules. I don't know if you know already this cutscene. We already showed it in our previous videos. It basically shows how Ivaldi was killed in action. Apparently that's what Gunborg is saying here, and basically this region is under control of Glod, who is a half Muspel, half Jotun enemy, and who is the bastard son of Surtur. So basically that's our main baddie in this region. And so, like I mentioned, we're gonna give away 3 codes for the DLC. It's going to be only the DLC, so you need to own the main game, as I mentioned in the stream yesterday. We're going to have one of the... Basically, what we're going to do is we're going to ask you a question. We're going to show it on screen, and we will need you to tweet... To write on Twitter a tweet using the hashtag ATA Labs that you can see in the lower left on the screen right now, with the answer to our question and the platform that you are competing with in order to get the code connected to that specific question. The giveaway will start in some time. We're going to do 3 questions that are going to be well, I'm going to ask you those questions throughout the stream. I'm going to tell you in advance so you can get ready on Twitter, because the first that gives the correct answer is going to get the code and the prize of the giveaway. So not yet, but soon we're going to ask the first question. Then we move on with the stream, with the story, with the gameplay and everything, and then we're going to ask more questions for the DLC. Tomorrow is release date? No, it's the day after tomorrow. What do you think of Kara's Domain? Kara's Domain is pretty much the area where the Valkyrie Arena, the most commonly known as Valkyrie Arena, is located. And my opinion about the Valkyrie Arena is that it's super boring. I'm sorry about that, but it's very repetitive. Like I mentioned in one of our videos, it's the same system that has been used in a lot of post-launch content for Valhalla. So basically, you have to do an action over and over and over and over in order to get a very small and limited amount of credits, or I don't know, any kind of like a new currency that you're going to use on a store whose items are very much overpriced. So it happened in the in the festivals. Oh yeah, this is one of the screens where we have dialogues about Odin and Baldur. We can skip them by pressing circle in this case. And then we can go to the city of Uldar to find our Frithjofer. But yeah, like I mentioned, we're going to show you the Valkyrie Arena later, so you can tell me if you agree with me or not. But pretty much you have a number of stories that you can tell, which means you can have different fights, different challenges. All the challenges are combat based. So basically you have to kill enemies or bosses, and it's a fixed amount of these challenges. There's if you progress with the main game and also with the DLC, you're gonna get more challenges, but at some point it's gonna be those ones. There's more than 10, so there's at first there's some variety. But the base of the game is pretty much that you need to kill these enemies. You get the resources that you're going to use. You get the currency that you're going to use in Kara's shop in order to get the very overpriced items. Especially the weapons are super overpriced. So it is absolutely repetitive in itself. And it's also repetitive because it's the same system that we have seen already in countless versions. Like it is there in the Mastery Challenge game mode, where you have to do the Mastery Challenge in order, like you have to get the proper medals in order to get the currency that you use to get the items. It's there in the festivals where you have to do the festival activities in order to get the currency, to get the items from the shop, and it's here as well, very much the same. And also, like this time, the variation is that you can use the bows that are basically challenge modifiers. They do apply some debuffs on you, so maybe you are not going to get the energy to use the powers, or you might be drunk for the entirety of the fight, or whatever, or the enemies are overpowered and something like that. But after you use 4 of those, the increasing rewards will be lesser and lesser. So like if you place like 4 or 5 challenge modifiers, it will give you 400 credits or whatever. If you put the 5th, it's going to be 410, and then it's going to be 420. So pretty much you're going to get the same amount of credits. So you don't need to use all the challenge modifiers, because there's not a proportional amount of rewards with the difficulty that you're applying to the challenges. So it's very, very repetitive if you want to get all the items in the shop. And in the shop of the Valkyrie Arena, you will find the Odin Allfather costume, which is, I think, one of the most interesting here, and it's the one that was used in all the trailers. And of course, you have to do so many fights in the Valkyrie Arena to get all of those. There's no modern day in the DLC. It was mentioned a few days before the DLC was given in early access. So no modern day at all. Sorry. No, we haven't asked the first question for the giveaway yet, Theolica. So, do you like the DLC? I do enjoy the gameplay of the DLC. It very much, when you have the powers, so right now we are at an early stage, so you don't have the powers. We can get one here in the lower right. That other enemies has the power of rebirth that we can test. So basically, after you kill, when you, in this case, like the first version of the power is pretty much you activate it, then you kill enemies, and then when you kill the enemies while the power is activated, they're going to be reborn for you, and then basically they're going to fight with you. And the upgraded version of that power actually works much better, so you can kill the enemies first and then activate the power, so you have 30 to 40 seconds of that, and they are going to be reborn all at the same time. So that kind of like provides you with an army if you kill all the enemies first, and that is very useful in the raids, because yes, there's raids in this DLC, of course. I would have been surprised if raids weren't there. And in this case, the raids are pretty much a way for you to get silica. Silica is pretty much one of the most important resources here in order to upgrade your bracer and thus the powers that you can use. Sari is gonna get it's getting a good challenge here, and silica was one of the materials, actually it was the material that was used to power the first civilization temples in Origins, but that's where the connection pretty much stops. So you can earn silica in some kind of silica refiners that are basically located in the raid locations, which are all mills. They're called milna, but they are mills, and they were used by the dwarves within the mythological veil. They were used by the dwarves in order to refine the silica and use it for its properties, whatever they are. So that's, yes, it's the same material, it's yellow, it's the same stuff, so that's a connection to the Isu, but it's very much a gameplay element rather than a story one. We get to know that it is getting refined by the dwarves in order to use its properties. There are some documents here and there. When you're doing the raids, always make sure to check if there are documents all around, because there might be some stories and some information. Always with the mythological code, which makes it very difficult to understand if that means anything within the Isu story. So you will see documents about dwarves that are trying to work crafting the silica, or like refining the silica for whatever they wanted to do. So that's, spend your money on Resident Evil 8 DLC. I still have to play Resident Evil 8. Sarah and I have played Resident Evil 7 a few days ago. A few weeks ago, and we really enjoyed it for what it was. Before the crossover went live, we were pretty much playing Resident Evil 7 and its DLCs. We still have to complete those. There's an entry on silica in the codex. Yes, there is. Always make sure. I know this is pretty sad, but at least in the first at first glance, I would say that in the codex there's a good chunk of the lore or of the interesting lore of the DLC, because like the main story, most of that, apart from maybe the final act, but most of that is mythological stuff most of the time. Within the codex, within the database, there's more information about the characters, about the ties between Odin and Frigg, and Baldur, and Silica as well. But that's pretty much it. So make sure, if you are a fan of the story and you're gonna get the DLC, make sure to read the codex entries. I feel like it's high in price, but Ubisoft did say 30 hours worth of campaign. I'm sorry to disappoint you. They actually did say 35 hours in general, not for the main campaign. I played 25 hours and cleared the entire map, included the story. So it's not 35 hours for the story. It's not 35 hours even to 100% the DLC. The story is about 10 to 12 hours. That was pretty much a lie. Or like, it was not really true. So you get it. It depends. For modern day to be successful, the team must implement it in a way that people cares when they play it. And for that to happen, I see must do another soft reboot. Yes. I can't understand that. So this is the story here is basically see, we're talking about the Sons of Evil D, which is this organization that is coordinating the shelters, and basically there was amidst the dwarf miners here, there was a guy called Fritjover who was acting like a spy for them, and he was providing the Sons of Evil D with information about the Muspel invasion, but he was spotted by the Muspels, and thus he was kidnapped, pretty much forced into labor, because all the dwarves, or like all the Isu in this city, the city of Uldar, have been turned into slaves that are digging the ground in order to find some kind of relics. So yes, that's pretty much the underlying story here. They might be counting the arena grind towards these 35 hours, I guess. Probably. I think because within those 25 hours, there's also the time that I spent in the arena. And I got all the items of the Old Father set. And I got the haircut that can be seen in the trailers. I didn't get the weapons. There's, I think there's an knack gear. And there's a shield, the shield from the screenshots, that I still have to get. I think they are worth like 3,000 credits each. And for each fight you get 400. So you do the maths and you know how many fights you have to do in order to get a single item. It's 7 to 8. So, hey, get back in Donut. Welcome to the stream. Game Observatory. Are the Muspels confirmed to be North African Isu? There's no, not that I have at least gleaned, but there's no confirmation about who is who and what is what as well. You're gonna see it when you play the DLC, or if you play the DLC. But this MacGuffin that I mentioned, it's not clear what it is, what it does. And it's so funny because Odin, the main character, is like us. He's asking everyone, what does he do? What does he do? And in the end, it's not really explained. It does stuff in the ending, this MacGuffin object, but it wasn't explained before. It's super weird. Oh no, you're back today? Okay, let's ban you once again. Hello. Hide user. Sorry for the spam. I think everything was removed from the chat. Can you see it again? The spam, I think I removed it. You still see it? I think like my controls are saying that it was removed or hidden from the chat. Okay, thanks. Thank you for insight. Weird that Odin knows so little. It's not weird in that this MacGuffin comes from the past, as in comes from a time before the Isu that we know. So it comes from a time before Odin, Jupiter, Juno, Minerva, Aletheia. It comes from a time before that. So it's not surprising that they don't know what it does. For some reason that is very vaguely mentioned, Surtur knows what it does, and actually is planning to do stuff. But yeah. Did the DLC change your opinion on Odin? Yes, I've been very vocal about Odin, especially in the recent videos. I've put some jokes here and there, and some irony about him. Slightly. The answer is slightly, in that I don't know if it's because of Ubisoft's campaign, but all the materials that showed him, they showed him as a very obnoxious person in the DLC, but that's not the case. There are moments where he misses the time that he spent with Loki, even if at the start of the DLC he has him imprisoned in a cell in Asgard. Well, you don't see that. Again, the DLC plays a lot on not telling and not showing, which is very much the opposite of what you should do. But yes, so at the beginning, Odin will tell that he has imprisoned Loki, and that's pretty much why we never hear his voice in the DLC. Like, what's the name of the actor? Carlos Ferro? I don't remember. I don't remember the name for the actor for Basim and Loki, but you don't hear his voice in the DLC. That's pretty bad. It's a great question, Atef or Atef. Like I said, it did slightly change my opinion in that there are some moments where Odin. Well, there's a few moments where he is not selfish and is not doing stuff for himself. There are some others where he is saying, "Careful what you're saying. You're in front of the High One and whatnot." But that's part of his character, so that's fine. There's what else? There are moments of suffering for Odin in the DLC as well. So you kind of try and get where he's coming from. Careful, okay. There are other moments where he seems to be like a cartoon, selfish person, or full of himself. Like the dialogue that he has with Kara the Valkyrie when you get to the Valkyrie Arena for the first time. That seems like a cartoon version of Odin. That's very bad. Like he does all the things. He works like this and he talks like this. Wow. It's very bad. I think that they told Magnus to speak like that, and it feels bad. I think it's the only lines by Magnus that I didn't like in the DLC. And in the meantime, we are getting to find Tira, who is the cousin of Fritjover, the spy that we're looking for. And you are going to get to remember her because she says "dere" all the time. It's like her defining character because all the other words that she speaks are, as you can see, intelligible. And "dere" means come. And she tells Odin to follow her so much in this quest arc. It's insane. I remember writing "dere" in the chat with Soroses, who also was playing the DLC all the time. Carlo Rota, yes, that's the name. It's even an Italian name, because I think he has like Italian origins, and I forgot about that. Can you use gear from the main game in the DLC? Yes, absolutely. Yes. So you can use Mjolnir or standard swords or whatever, like everything. This is a Yggdrasil sprout. I don't remember the name exactly. And basically, you convert your life for some energy or huger in order for you to use the powers. So yeah. Is there a good or bad ending? No, there's a single ending. There's not a lot of choice in the DLC. And for what I know, the few choices that are there are almost irrelevant. There is one at the start of one of the quests, like the main story quests within one of the Dwarven shelters. You have a choice there, but it's pretty much irrelevant. And there's no choice tied to the ending as it was in Wrath of the Druids, for example. And I think that we are at 1 hour, so we can ask the first question of the deals of the giveaway. Let's assassinate this guy first. Okay. So like I mentioned, the giveaway we're gonna have it in a few moments. So like I mentioned, what you need to do is to get your Twitter ready. I'll get on Twitter as well to check the hashtag ATA Labs. So we're gonna show a question on screen. ATA Labs. And we're gonna show a question on screen, and you're gonna have to tweet with the hashtag ATA Labs. You're gonna have to tweet the answer and the platform that you are competing for in order to get the code that is only for Dawn of Ragnarok, the DLC. It's not for any game edition that has the game and the DLC. It's the DLC only, so you need to have Valhalla already. So get ready on Twitter. Get ready to answer our first question of the 3 today. We're gonna show them in 3, 2, 1, go. What is the name of the only dwarf from the Asgard arc in Valhalla's main game? So try and tweet with hashtag ATA Labs the answer, the name of this dwarf, and the platform that you are competing for. Let me refresh and see. Let me see the first answer. That's Mesakaga. The answer was Ivaldi. Ivaldi is the only dwarf that can be seen in the Asgard arc. So at Mesakaga, congratulations for winning the code for Dawn of Ragnarok and for winning the giveaway. Please send us a direct message on Twitter at Access the Animus so that we can contact you in order to get some more data in order to deliver the code. We're going to deliver the code starting on March the 10th. It might be the day after, depending on when Ubisoft can give us the code based on the platform that you're going to tell us and the region where you are located. So congratulations, Darude Sandstorm or Mesakaga. Please write to us at the Twitter handle is at Access the Animus. I'm going to write it in the chat as well so that you don't get it mistaken. It's Access the Animus. Like this. So congratulations for answering properly and very fast. So we're gonna wait for your message and we're going to answer after the stream, so so you can enjoy the stream with us, and then we're going to arrange how to deliver you the code. So good job. All of these resources are present in Svartalfheim. I missed the conversation. Which resources? Let me check the chat. Is there any iron, silver, or titanium in Svartalfheim? Yes. As the game starter answered, yes, there's all kinds of resources. In a moment. There's all kinds of resources in Svartalfheim. So not only the iron, titanium, I think there's some fabric as well, but also the ones that you can see on screen, magma blood. There's 5 or 6 new resources that are used in order to upgrade your Hugger Racer. That is the one that has all the powers. I don't know how many exotic resources, as they call them, there are in this DLC. It's getting insane. I think that's the way. There's some light at the end. And so yeah, there's so much RPG stuff in this DLC as well. You need to collect like 7 or 8 types of resources in order to fully upgrade your Hugger Racer. Nice. Hopefully they just have a bunch just sitting in chests like they did in Siege of Paris. You mean the resources? The resources for the Hugger Racer? No, they're all in the world. You get a lot of them, honestly, if you just kill a lot of enemies. So just go and do your stuff. Clear the outposts or like the various locations, and if you kill a lot of Jotuns or Muspels, you're gonna get those resources. And pretty much they are tied to the powers, so basically you have to kill a lot of most spells in order to get the upgrades for the Muspelheim power, of course. You're gonna have to kill a lot of Jotnar in order to get the resources for the upgrades for the Jotunheim and the winter powers. You're gonna have to kill a lot of huge ravens in order to get the resources for that, for the raven power. So Sari is suggesting to move to a different save file that we have in order to move on, not just with the story, but also to show you the Valkyrie Arena, and also some of the other powers, because like right now we only have the Muspel power, the Muspelheim power, and you get the other ones as you progress in the world. You don't have to progress with the story necessarily. You just need to kill the enemy that has that specific power, and then you get those. I've been following your YouTube channel for a while because you have great information about Assassin's Creed games. Thank you, Colonel Doom. That's very kind of you. Any chance we get additional details on what caused the Toba catastrophe in the first place? That would be a spoiler. So I'm not gonna say anything, but I think that my reaction should have answered you in a way. Because if I cannot tell you anything, that's it. So are we moving to the other game save? I made so many saves in order to have different potential opportunities for the stream. They are at different times in the story and exploration of the world. 8 resources, yes. There's a huge delay to Brazil. Really? There's a lot of delay. Let me check. Yeah, I think we have like 10 seconds of delay from when I'm talking to where you're hearing. But then again, I think if you play the DLC on normal difficulty, you would be able to finish the main story in less than 12 hours. Yes, I agree with that. I play... Let's check before we use the powers. Can we check the difficulty that we're on right now? I think it's like Nightmare. Let me see. I think it's here. Nightmarish. We have, I think, level scaling is Nightmarish, and well, enemy output is the damage output is the Avor. The damage is default, but I put the level scaling very tough in order to have some challenge, and that's why it took me 10 to 12 hours to do the fights, especially the boss fights. They took me some time. So yeah, as we moved on to a later save, we can see this is the Raven power. It basically allows us to fly wherever we want, and then if we want to land, we have to zoom as we usually do with Sunin, like this, and then we can use, in this case I'm using the PlayStation pad, so we use triangle, and then we can land wherever we want. Otherwise, there is also a trigger for an auto landing, or if you're consuming your energy, it will automatically land to the closer spot, I think. Yes, 12 hours is fine for you. It gives hope of actually finishing it. Yes, it shouldn't be too hard to finish it. The question is 12 hours enough for $40? Depending on, are you a fan of like the entire DLC? Are you in only for the story? Are you there for the gameplay upgrades? Are you here for the world? So, yeah. So here we are with Kara. That's the only Valkyrie in the DLC. There's no other Valkyries, so no Hildur or Hildiran. That was another missed opportunity. This is the shop. As you can see, the price for all the items is all the outfit items is 1,200, while the weapons are 2,800. Keep in mind, most of the fights will give you 400 credits, so you're gonna have to fight a lot. And then make sure to get at the bottom of the shop, because that's where you're gonna get the hairstyles and the huge beard that was shown in the trailer. Sari wants to get the beard. Let's get it. And then Sari, I think we can show some of them. Let's tell a tale. So basically, the way in which we access these combat opportunities, these fights, is we choose one of the potential stories that Odin is going to vainly tell about some of his past victories. Some are with humans from the main games. You can also, at the end of the list, we have the witches. So we have Gonril, Regan, and Cordelia from the main game. So that's really non-canon in the slightest. It's just to have fun with the gameplay. F for Hilder, yes. It's so weird because this has been promoted as the Valkyrie Arena, so not having the one Valkyrie character that was mentioned earlier. So Sari chose the story about Loki, the trickster, and his legion. These are the boasts, and the green ones are the ones that are giving you more credits, because the gray ones are the ones that have been already used, that are used in other fights. So basically, Kara will give you less credits because she gets boring if you're using the same debuffs and challenge modifiers. So Sari can choose. Like we can see, whenever you use an ability, the enemy attacks enemies. Can you stay for a second? Enemy attacks temporarily deal more damage to you when you use an ability. Or this one, enemies yield no hunger, so they don't give you energy for your powers, so you won't be able to use the powers. This one is when you use abilities. Sorry, you don't use abilities, so it's a good for your playstyle. It's a good fit. Then we have every few seconds enemies become immune to the first instance of damage, so the first hit will not count, which is not very nice. I play Assassin's Creed Valhalla PS4 on Berserker hard mode. Understandable, because once you grow powerful with the skills and abilities and everything, it's nice to turn the difficulty up if you are that kind of player. I tend to do that every now and then. Do you keep the boar mount and skills on all of the regions? On all the regions in Svartalfheim? Yes. The boar mount, I don't think you can keep it in the real world. So there we are. Like you see, as you saw, Odin introduces the story with just a line. Then you get to fight. And then be careful because the Jotnar cure themselves. It's that guy in the middle. That one. The other one. That one. This one. This one is the one that is curing everyone. So keep going at him. Go. There we go. Okay. So yeah. What is a pompadour? Are you talking about the weapon? Or... So yeah, within Svartalfheim, you can keep the skills, abilities, and everything in all the regions. The cool thing is that the abilities that you gain here, you can use them in the real world in England, just with no magic elements. So all the electrical effects that are in the abilities here, that was the first chapter of the story. And have it said, then ahead of me I saw what I knew to be my prey. And his prey in this story was Loki. So we're now facing Loki, who is not saying anything. So that's pretty much us. redoing the fight from the Asgard, from the at the end of the Jotunheim arc, which basically that is Loki and his moveset. And that's pretty much it. I had to increase the difficulty in my game because hard became normal mode with all the new abilities, so now I play on very hard. That's pretty much the same for me, I think. I also applied the level scaling because just because it's there. I usually don't even go like if I'm good with some settings, I never get back to the options to tweak them. I'm not that kind of player. Pathfinder, the high difficulty Master Assassin, I have that too. Berserker, I'm not sure if I have that. Carlo Rota was too expensive. It was really... See, we used only 2 bows and that's 130 credits. If we used only 2... we're doing the same one though, so we might need to change and do another one. This is the one that I never am able to do. There's one where you fight Sinmara and this one. No, the other one. This one. This is the one that I'm not able to do anytime. I can try and play, or sorry, if you want to try. It gets so tough because there's 2 bosses from the game. That is Sinmara, who is Surtur's wife, and Asa, who is Surtur's daughter. And they have a moveset that is very tough to be able to keep up with. Taken singularly, they are pretty okay to be fought. Do you fight some dragons or Jormungandr? No. I think there is a name drop for Nidogr as a giant snake, but there's there's nothing like that. You don't fight dragons, even if I had heard rumors about that, but no dragons, luckily. Even though during some of the loading screens you get to hear again those weird sounds that seem like growls or like whatever, they do seem like dragons or whatever. Bummer that Loki Basim has no line in the DLC. No. That also means that Loki does not appear. He's mentioned by other characters, but you don't get to see Loki. And if you have heard some of the stuff that I mentioned earlier, you might also connect the dots and understand an event that I didn't mention earlier, that I didn't get too much into details, that involved Loki, that happened off screen. It would be nice if Ubisoft let us keep the boar mount in all. Maybe it's possible, I'm not sure. Honestly, we would have to try and see. I'm not sure if in this save file I already have, like we already have Gulin Bursti, who is the boar mount. I mean, at this point in the main game, you can have so many different kind of mounts and sets that... Yeah, Sari is feeling the pain that I feel every time I try this challenge. The tough part is also that they are over leveled because we have the level scaling turned up to its maximum, so it's very complicated. Usually when you have 2 bosses, you want to focus on one of them, but they both have also the capability to cure themselves, so the moment you focus on one, the other one will attack you with like these bombs and stuff like that. And so the other one can cure itself, and it's gonna be pretty tough. At least with the level scaling. Or I'm not good. I just need to get good, maybe. It would be. We were only told that he would appear again, not specifically in Dawn of Ragnarok. Yes, exactly. I think that was Jose Araiza, who is the live producer for Valhalla and also other games before, and he mentioned that we would have seen more of Basim in the future. And honestly, there are rumors all over the place about an upcoming potential game featuring Basim, so I would imagine that he was talking about that. Because there's no Basim and there's no Loki in here, apart from what you just saw. So it's just a memory of a fight with the model, with a 3D model of. Well, you're resisting, sorry. That's already a start. Only the 3D model of Loki and nothing else. So, is there only one arena we can fight in, or is there several? No, there's only one. It's this one. The good thing is that different tales will lead to different kinds of arenas. Like in the tale featuring Loki, like we saw earlier, there was ice all over the place because you were fighting Jotnar. Now we're fighting Muspel, so there's lava all over the place. In the arena, there's also a Yggdrasil sprout where you can trade your life for some Hugr power, like for some Hugr energy. I think that Sari also did not come prepared here because with all these Muspels, you might need to use the what's called the winter power, so that you freeze them. Maybe we can try that. If you don't make it, let's see how it goes.
Make it.
Well, you got a good chunk of life from Sinmara. The game started. They are cosmetic items, the ship, the mount, and the raven, so you can use them in any world. Okay. Yeah, I know about the ship and the raven, to the mount as well. Thank you for mentioning that, game starter. I'm keeping my hopes low, but I would be excited if we got a Basim game. Yes, especially if the rumors are actually correct. Because that would be seeing Basim. I mean, if you are playing as Basim, you would have to confront Loki's conscience within Basim, and that would be pretty cool to see himself if he had to challenge his own ancestral conscience like Eivor did, or if he's taken by the conscience immediately, and so we're already like playing as Loki pretty much. It's pretty cool. No worries if you can't answer this, but I was wondering, does Eivor do anything in this DLC other than going to sleep and waking up? Yes, she does two more things. One is listening to stories by members of the settlement. At some point, I think it's after the first story arc or the second story arc, you can go back to England, and there will be a quest prompt, and basically you will be able to go to the new tree, the one with the mistletoe berries over it, and you will be able to sit down next to a campfire and listen to some of the villagers and some of the characters that we know tell Eivor some stories about Svartalfheim, and some of those actually sort of happen in the mythological world, so there's some kind of connection, which also doesn't really make sense, because how could the villagers know, unless it's more like the villagers are telling this story to Eivor, so Eivor is projecting it in Svartalfheim. I'm not sure. It might be the case that, like, as you can see, these two bosses, they can replenish their life, so it's very tough. Lagarde, will you expect a new AC at the end of this year, or is it impossible because we did not get any new AC since November 2020? That's a good question. The fact that they did a year 2 for Valhalla, usually they don't release a new game where in the year when the support for a game is ending. Like they didn't release Valhalla in 2019 where the support for Odyssey was expiring. They waited for another 6 or 8 months. So Valhalla support will potentially end this year, meaning that I don't expect, unless they change their strategy, I don't expect a new game to be released this year. It might be announced, because if there's rumors, announcements are close, but I don't expect it to be released. Do you plan on reading the upcoming books and comics? Yes. The thing is, I don't have that much time, considering most of my free time. Well, a good chunk of my, not all of that, but a good chunk of my free time is dedicated to creating videos or like doing the streams here. And as you might have seen in the last few weeks, we have tried new formats, new types of videos on the channel. Organizing this kind of stuff while also maintaining the social media profiles and everything, it takes some time. The thing is, I would like to, like, comics will be easy to read because they're very short. For the books, I really have not a lot of free time, but I would love to read the books, especially Sword of the White Horse, I think it's called. There's a Sword of Eden on the cover, so I'd like to know about that. It's more likely that the villager tells the stories and Eivor projects them, and maybe, because I didn't check that, maybe these events appear in the game after they appear in the DLC after you listen to the villagers telling Eivor this kind of stories, so that would make sense then. I'm level 476 in Valhalla PS4. By the time you have filled the skill tree with this DLC, it's gonna be 535, pretty much. We'll probably get a new game spring next year or so. I would imagine end of the year, but I don't know, because like the rumors about this new Basim game, it seems like it's a more streamlined game, not a huge one. So if it's not a huge one, it could also be not released during the Christmas window. So maybe it's in the spring, even though HC rarely releases, or almost never releases in April or like first part of the year. So you mean at this E3 in June, Ubisoft will tease? I wouldn't use will, but they might. I honestly don't know. So it's I would say it's more likely to see teases or announcements this year than actually having the game being released. Also because Ubisoft is not the kind of company that says, hey, in 3 months this new game will be out. Like that's something that other companies do, but not Ubisoft. They usually have like long marketing campaigns. Any more Eivor stuff apart from the stories? Yes, there's another part. Like I said, there's 2 things. The second part is actually part of the story. So that's what I mentioned earlier by Eivor having to overcome her fears. Not gonna get into that because it's kind of like, well, not a huge story spoiler, but I'll let you experience for yourself. I did not like the end from this DLC. The main ending I also did not like. It's very confusing. You don't get what is happening, why it's happening. The post-credit scene that you can find in one of the shelters, and we're dead here. And they keep They keep attacking you. Like you said, the post-credit scene, which is not actually an automatic post-credit scene like the one in the crossover. You need to go to a specific shelter to get that. This scene puts the events of the ending in some kind of perspective, but it's still vague. So, yeah, slightly better, but still a mess. Honestly, in terms of story, I would say I kept thinking about this, and I have to go back to the story to see its details that I absolutely don't remember from my first playthrough. But I'm inclined to say that in terms of story, this is one of the worst, if not the worst, DLC in the Assassin's Creed franchise. As in main DLC. Because it's very vague, at least for hardcore fans. Maybe the mythology fans will enjoy it, and that's it. For me as a hardcore fan, it was very vague. I didn't get much from it. I still have to process everything. Probably we're gonna still have some analysis. Maybe if I get more time, I'm gonna be able to get more information about this, and then make sense of the story. But at first glance, at a first impact, it's very complicated to understand what is happening. And the stuff that you understand that is happening happens off screen, and it gets me so mad. You're gonna see that when you play for yourself, when you see that specific event not happening in front of you, but they just tell you, oh yeah, well, that happened, so sorry. Well, we don't tell Odin sorry, but I'm reading the comics out of curiosity. Yeah, well, the comics for the Forgotten Myths comic will provide some backstory for what is happening in this DLC, and it's a prequel comic, which doesn't make sense. Again, the prequel comic comes out after the DLC. To me, it doesn't make sense. Again, I don't know. Like, if I experienced already like the aftermath of that, it's not a teaser anymore. So right now we are in the A3 or I3 location. It's basically the center of Svartalfheim. It was once a huge dwarven city that was destroyed, and that's where Surtur and his cronies they installed themselves. Basically, at the beginning of the DLC, you're getting here. Odin and Frigg are looking for Baldur, and they're gonna get to meet Surtur. Something is gonna happen, and then Odin will get to the open world properly. One thing, heads up, when you start the DLC, you won't be able to change your items, anything, up until you do a good chunk of the story. So if you want to have a proper outfit or some proper weapons, be sure to equip them before going in the mythical world, before going to Svartalfheim. Otherwise, you'll be stuck with what you had when you start going to Svartalfheim the first time. So yeah, I'm waiting for Bastion Modern Day storyline. To be honest, it's sad they won't update anything during this DLC. Yes, it's sad. It's another missed opportunity. I think that's very much a consequence of how DLCs are made at Ubisoft. Almost never, like the teams working on the DLCs and the creatives working on the DLCs, it seems like they almost never coordinate with the narrative directors and writers from the main game. In this case, this DLC was developed by Ubisoft Sofia, who actually worked on the main game. And still, I don't know what to say. I don't know if it's the writers or the context here, or the attempt of going more and more towards the mythology. I also feel like I have a lot of fatigue towards the visuals of this way of treating the Isu. Like, instead of actually showing the Isu story, or hearing Isu voices talking about the actual Isu world, always seeing this mythological coat of flaming beings, or like these ice giants. This is not AC. I don't like to see that in AC at all. There are a few moments where you get to meet Asa, who is the daughter of Surtur, and she is called by some of the dwarves fire nymph. Like, are you working with a fire nymph, Javi? And even just saying the name fire nymph in Assassin's Creed instead of The Witcher, that felt to me so out of place. It really felt bad. So yeah, it's, in terms of story, this is one of the worst DLCs for me, at least. Will there be new content in Valhalla after this DLC? I would expect that. I would hope for that. Only to get the conclusions to Mastery Challenge, River Raids. I mean, River Raids I hate, so they could also not have a third part. And the Tombs of the Fallen as well. I would like to see the conclusion to that. There's an interesting story about the prisons that Odin created in England. There's no prisons in Svartalfheim, as far as I remember, apart from the ones in the outposts. And there's a huge fortress with some prisons towards the end. But that's it. Any clue how does all the Isu tied together? Can you please reformulate your question, Ronald? Because I don't see I got it. They can show this like Reda's memories because he is an Isu. He can't be alive yet in 2022. It feels like Reda says like he has found another way to survive the Toba catastrophe. So that's why he is alive in Origins, and he's alive also in Valhalla. So we could also see him in the modern day. I hope not, just because Reda is the microtransaction guy. So seeing microtransactions tied to the modern day wouldn't feel great. But the way the Isu are presented here in the Norse perspective looks the worst compared to the Atlantis DLC. In terms of visuals, absolutely yes. In terms of story, I think it's kinda the same in that you don't know what is actually happening. In here, you have a better idea that what you're seeing somehow happened during the Isu era, while in the Atlantis DLC you didn't know. I don't think it's here, the shelter.
I'm not searching for the session.
Ah, okay. Sorry. Is Randvi one of the village characters who tells a story? No. Is it? Yes. Yes, it is, I think. There is... I don't remember any of those. There's the blacksmith. Tovi, Alvis, Randvi, and Gunnar. Wow, you're super precise, game starter. Good job. Much better than I am. Yes, Randvi is coming out of the map room. Reda mentions that he was mentored by Loki and find a way to escape. So why didn't Loki just do that? Maybe because he was mentored and then he on his own found a way. It feels like Reda is the only Isu that is able to survive through time without the use of the staff of Hermes Trismegistus. It's different from Odin and Tyr and his friend and their friends, because they were reborn and then had a human life and then they were about to die, or had to go back to the Yggdrasil machine, while Reda is actually living an eternal life without supposedly any kind of piece of Eden. The problem with the new AC games is that they are not very good, but also that you as a fan of the franchise would not play it. Yeah, it's there are pieces of content that seem to stray way so much away from what AC was. Then there are other content, like the Tombs of the Fallen was okay. It would have been better if Odin had if Eivor had acknowledged any kind of Isu stuff that she had already seen before. But in itself, Tombs of the Fallen was not that bad. I like that more than the DLCs, honestly. And there was a 1 hour and a half experience tops, I think. What else? Not seeing the chat. Okay. I really wish Ubisoft would let main devs from the base game work with the DLCs. Yeah, the thing is that, at least for what I understand, the devs that work on the main game, they are immediately, once the game is done, they are immediately moved to another project, be it in a concept phase or whatever. So especially the creatives, so the narrative directors, the writers and everything, they have to be there for the conceptual phase of whatever they're going to work on next. And so if they are focusing on the new stuff, they cannot focus on the DLCs, and that's a major issue, I think. I mean, that's my perception. I'm not sure if that's what is actually happening at Ubisoft, but you can see that, like, the writers or like the main narrative directors for the DLCs are never the same that worked on the games. So it was the case for the Ezio games. If I recall correctly, Jeffrey Yohalem worked on Brotherhood, and then he collaborated on the DLCs for Brotherhood. Pretty sure. And the same was for Revelations, I think. I think Darby and Jeffrey Yohalem also worked on the Lost Archive DLC for Revelations. After Darby worked on Revelations main game, so it's a different strategy that they're having now. Doesn't feel great on a fan perspective because there's always so many story issues in the DLCs. How can I win the new DLC for PC? Well, soon we're going to ask a second question for our giveaway. And you will need to tweet, to make a tweet, write a tweet with the hashtag ATA Labs that you can see on the lower left of the screen, and answer a question that we're gonna show on screen, and we're gonna have to see. We still have to ask you 2 questions, and that means we still have 2 codes to give away. Sophia worked on polishing, not story and stuff. Didn't they work on the mythological stuff? I think they did. I think Sophia did the Jotunheim arc in terms of visuals. Not the story, but they did the art and the level environments as well for Jotunheim. I'm not sure about Asgard. They just need to stick with one studio when developing a franchise. Yeah, well, one studio alone wouldn't be able to create this kind of games. unless they were like thousands of people in a single studio. The way that Ubisoft does this kind of huge open world games is giving different tasks, different areas of the world, different features. They have to be done by different studios, and then they coordinate during different meetings. I think they released some videos about that some years ago as to how they are coordinating, which I can imagine it must be a mess when you have studios in Europe, in the US, in Singapore, China. It's incredibly complex to be all aligned. Darby mentioned on Twitter that at some point that he might be working a little bit on year 2. Did he mention that he's working a bit on year 2? That'd be interesting. Also, that confirms that there should be more stuff in year 2. And after all, if they call it year 2 and there was only this DLC, it wouldn't feel great, honestly. Oh, sorry, Game Starter. Sophia did Jotunheim, Wessex, and the Assault feature on Valhalla. That includes both world building, gameplay programming. They did the writing as well? Oh, that's pretty cool. I didn't know that they did the writing as well. And then I don't know how the writing changed this much. Maybe it was just my inclination towards the DLC. Maybe I already had some expectations and they didn't deliver. I don't know. They need to work like the Tomb Raider team, 2-year dev cycles, 2-3-year dev cycles with collaborating teams. When you say studio, do you mean the same buildings or offices or not? Well, when Ubisoft calls people from a studio, they mean different buildings, sometimes in different countries. So when they say Ubisoft in Canada has a number of studios, they have the Montreal studio, the Quebec studio, the Saguenay studio. I think that's it. Maybe they have Winnipeg, Toronto. They have 5 or 6 in there. Yeah, right. I'll have a look at the credits. I'm sorry. Yeah. Okay. All right. So, time for a second question for the giveaway. Get ready, guys. We are going to ask you the second question, and we're going to give away the second code for Dawn of Ragnarok. Like I mentioned, it's a giveaway only for the DLC. It's not for the DLC plus the game. And what you have to do is to go on Twitter, be ready to write with the hashtag ATA Labs the answer, along with the platform that you are competing for. So it's gonna be you need to write hashtag ATA Labs the answer, and then I don't know, PC, Xbox, Amazon Luna, I don't know, the platform that you would like to get the DLC on. So let me get on the hashtag ATA Labs page. Got so many answers for the last question. Okay, so get ready. We're gonna ask the first question in 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Which factions have invaded Svartalfheim in the Dawn of Ragnarok DLC? Hint, that's 2 factions. I nominated them. I mentioned them so many times throughout the stream. Shouldn't be too hard. Let's see. Let me refresh the page. And the first correct answer. Somebody misspelled them. And it's Gamer PG. The proper answer is Muspels and Jotnar. I would have accepted also Muspels and Jotun. The first answer was by Alex Red, but they wrote Mussel Jotun. So I'm sorry I can't award you the prize. So the first proper answer was by GamerBG. Congratulations, you're gonna get a code for Dawn of Ragnarok for PS4 as you asked. So please write to the Access the Animus Twitter account a direct message, so that after the stream we can contact you and ask you for some more data in order to deliver you the code. And I just went to check the answers and we got more spam in here. I'm sorry guys, let's see if we can let's report this guy. Okay, so I think this bot should be reported properly now. So, like I said, congratulations GamerBG. Thanks for participating in the giveaway. Also to you all. We're not done yet. We still have one code to give. I'm sorry, Alexander. You spelled it right and then it auto-corrected. Ah, dang. USA doesn't accept Norse language. Oh no. Well, there's still another code to give away. Still might get a chance. I do want to give it to someone else though, so anyone in the chat. Oh, so GamerBG was the game starter. I don't have another question to ask, so yeah, you can give it to anyone. Just yeah. Please, please, can you still write to us in the Access the Animus page, because we should still need to coordinate this with you, because you are the winner following the guidelines. So yeah, I always forget names and stuff. I tend to do that more and more recently. Actually, they're already dead. The reincarnation are not really them. They would be considered as copies with the memories of. Yeah, I guess we're talking about the Asgardian sages here. Yeah, they pretty much they are copies with the most recent save file. Pretty much, I think that the Jotunheim arc of the main game. There's Odin saying, "Do you have to drink the mead now?" And Juno tells him, "No, you don't have to drink it now. You have to wait until the end, and then you drink it." Which is pretty much a way to say, "Hey, you don't. If you transfer your conscience now, you will not have all the memories from now until you die. So you need to transfer your conscience at the very last moment before you die in order to have all the memories of your previous life." When you get reincarnated in Eivor. So that was what Juno was saying. As far as I know, Darby confirmed in an interview that it's a one-time reincarnation. Yes, the Asgardian sages are one-time reincarnation. That is also mentioned in Alfred the Great's study. All the Asgardian reincarnations, so Tyr that was reincarnated in Sigurd, and Odin that was reincarnated in Eivor. The moment that Eivor dies, Odin's conscience should be dead, unless it takes control in some way and finds another way to survive. For example, Loki's conscience was transferred into Basim, and then Basim found a way to be alive up until 2020. So, again, really? Come on. I'm sorry I didn't get what happened. Alexander. Yeah, please screenshot what you guys are deciding to do, and I would need the gamer BG to write to access the animus in order then to coordinate. If you want to give your code to someone else, that's fine, but please, you need, with that Twitter account, you need to write to us, otherwise we won't be able to certify that it's actually you and not someone else faking to be you in order to get the code. So we need that. Yes, I'm not sure if I can permaban from here. Let me see. Not directly from the chat. I can report, I can remove, put in timeout. I will have to do that after the stream. Maybe this is a signal for 88 to move to Twitch. Oh my god, Serenica is in the house.
Hi, Sarah.
Hey, Sarah. Welcome to the stream. Oh my god, this is like ATA Inception. We're both hosting the stream and also commenting in the chat. Wow. Ataception. ATA-ception. I like how the dwarf just walk away from danger. Yes. I love that when I saw that the first time here. But it usually happens with all the... there's a lot of word events. Well, they're not word events. Basically, you have to save a dwarf in order to get information about the location of one of the zealots of the DLC. Good evening, Crocodile. Welcome to the stream. So, yeah. Pretty much you have to save a lot of dwarves in this DLC as side activities, and every time they slightly, politely move out of the way while you are creating carnage with the enemies. ATA party, evening all. Yeah.
Getting bored.
You're getting bored of the Jotnar or this fight or the DLC in general? You should throw these guys off the cliff.
I'm trying.
No, with the ability, with the harpoon. Let's try and. So yes, at this point in this save file we have to travel to a new shelter. It's called the Jordiger shelter. I think it's the final one. No.
I'll travel to the Hadida.
Okay, we can also do the dam stuff that Serenica mentioned yesterday. That she mentioned yesterday, and now we can try and see it live. I never saw it, so are we saving the dwarf for? Yeah.
Steady now.
Let's be kind.
Oh, thank the gods! I couldn't last much longer.
Take care, Lagarde. Thank you for joining us. See you in the next stream. So nice to have you to have seen you again today. Did you encounter any real life reference since playing? What do you mean real life reference? Like in order to understand where Svartalfheim is? I don't think there is. There's some connections, very loose, very vague connections to other events that we know from this story. There are some name drops about characters. The Isu character that was killed but never actually dies, that we discussed in the other streams. So heads up, there's going to be some Juno name drops in the DLC. Maybe something more, but I'm not gonna say. Easter eggs, maybe. There are some Easter eggs, some cool Easter eggs. Tomorrow we're going to release a video about an Easter egg. what do you think will happen in the second part of the Mastery Challenges? I wonder if there is a second part of the Mastery Challenge. But yeah, there's 3 dams, as Serenica told me yesterday. I thought it was 2. One is here. We have a fast travel very close. I think that's one of them. Is Darby working on Rift on something else? I don't know. Who knows? Officially, we don't even know that Rift exists, but it kind of does. So, do you think that they will give us another DLC this year? No. My understanding is, well, what I expect is that there's not gonna be anything else, any major expansion for Valhalla. We might have additional post-launch content. Hopefully, the second part of the Mastery Challenge and the Tombs of the Fallen. Hopefully, what Darby hinted at as to what concerns Eivor's final moments and resting place in Vinland. But yeah. I really like Juno appearing in Valhalla, even if it was through the mythological veil. I also like that. That's the character that keeps on giving because fans do like her. Which I also like. I still don't understand why they had to kill her. I mean, they said like they had to because they couldn't bring themselves to find a proper ending to her in the games, and then they are using Juno in each game, and they're using her name in post-launch content as well. That's I don't know. I was referring to the like of anything related to the Isu, modern day Greco-Roman Isu, Easter eggs until now. I won't go into the specifics, but yes, there is name drops and connections to the Isu, to the Greco-Roman Isu as well. Well, we have the Jotnar here, but also there are some name drops about some pretty well-known Isu from the Greco-Roman side. What else? Easter eggs, depending on what you consider to be an Isu Easter egg. But yeah, there are some hints here and there. Supposedly, all of this story is happening in the Isu time, so there's some meat to the story, but it's very vague and very difficult to interpret. And there is the mention of elves, which is also another facepalm to be had. So, what I mentioned at the start of the stream is that in front of the dams there is this areas where you cannot go because it will consume your life, and you need, as Serenica found, we need to equip the Jotun set. So let's go and get the blue one. Go up a bit. There we go. That's the Jotun cloak. And then everything that you find to be blue is going to be there. Should be blue. And should be at the top. Almost there. Go down. Left, down. There we go. That's there, that one. I'm not a huge fan of the Jotun set, while the fire giant one, if you are wearing the hood on, it's very cool. Maybe we can show that later. So I've never tried this part. We're trying this live. So remember, when you are at the end of the game, get to these areas with the Jotun set, and we'll see what is happening here. Might be a spoiler, I don't know. I mean, Serenica did mention there's a cutscene. Hello. Riker. She is mentioned in some documents in the game, in the DLC. Okay.
upon my weapon, for these will be the last things you see, stranger.
And thus, boss fight. Power 595. Shouldn't be too hard. Okay. Might be hard now. I'll check the chat in the meantime. He did the third question, not yet. I'm gonna ask that at the end of the stream. It's gonna be soon, few minutes. Let's see how Sari fares in the fight. Any modern day stuff, not that I know of. After this, we could move to the modern day, but I'm not sure. I don't think we can spoil that if there's, but I don't think there's anything in the modern day. On the detail screen of each armor, you get the equipment set option. I always forget about that. It was very visible when in Odyssey, and I never see that option, and I forget about that all the time. You have every weapon in the DLC, yes, apart the one that you get in this fight. So yeah, we have when we're done with this fight, one way or another, we can show you some of the weapons. Sorry?
You want me to die?
No, I don't want to do that. Come on, you can make it. Come on. Or we can switch. I can try. No. It's Sari. Sari has to do it. Please lower the scaling difficulty. It's harder in this DLC. There should be some lore at the end of this fight. Oh, really? Some lore.
How should we show it?
I mean, what kind of lore is it? Like, is it spoilery? All of the experience, is it worth $40? No. Direct answer, short answer, no. Yeah. You can put it to default or even off. You can easy or default as well. You put nightmarish again. I'm sorry. Just go off. Apply. That's because you're mid-fight. So yeah. They said publicly there is no modern day, and I didn't see any afterwards either. So Serenica is confirming that there's no modern day, even if you get out of the Animus after you're done. Should I try? No, sorry, it doesn't allow me to try. So if I don't win, I'll wait for a discount. Yeah, that's very understandable. I really don't think that the DLC is worth $40. At this point, I also don't understand who it was created with. I guess we're fans of the Norse myth, but I'm really not super sure about that either. How big is the influence of the RB at Ubisoft? Could it bring the series closer to its origin? That's a very tough question, especially because he came back, so I guess he has a lot of influence because he can write stuff on Twitter that most of the other devs do not or cannot. But is the main story actually 30 hours long? No, absolutely not. I think when Ubisoft was saying 35 hours, they were actually talking about clearing out the entire map and everything. And even that, it took me 25 hours to do, and I'm a slow player. I think you don't need, like, if you are standard or average player, 20 hours to clear the map could be okay. Could be enough. With the main story ending, it would have been nicer to have the DLC to take place not through a mythological veil, but how the issue actually were. It feels too loose and doesn't line up. Yeah, I agree. But again, here we are. Careful. Yes. Come on, Sari. Stun attack. Stun attack. Come on, Sari, you can do it. You still have 2 rations, I think. Stun attack. Yes! Wasn't enough. Man. They're fighting pretty well.
You seem surprised.
Kinda, yes. So at the end of the fight, we are going to see what kind of lore we can glean from here, and then I'm going to ask the final question, and then we're going to wrap up. So that's what we're going to do. Careful. They're stunning you continuously. Come on, Sari. Abilities. Good job. That's one. Yeah, using a hammer can be very tough when you have to get in close range with 3 enemies. Can be complicated. Oof. Come on. Why are you not hurting them anymore? Their life is done, I think. One mechanic that I hate about Valhalla is the dodge being tied to stamina. Yeah. There we go. Yeah, dodge was not tied to stamina, I think, in Origins. And then they did with... So I think you can... Okay. Let's confirm the kill on Riker. That was very difficult. Oh, that was the last Sutunga Outrider. Don't go back. There's something there, like a shield. You need to carry it, I think. It was a carry option? No? Oh, Jotnar Cleaver is the weapon that we get here. I don't think we see any lore here. Who was it? The game starter, I think he mentioned that there should be some lore here. Look around, there should be some writings on the door, but
Which door?
This portal. See, there's some writings, but I don't think they amount to anything. Or maybe they do. Who knows? It's only on one side, on the other side, but it's all Norse stuff. I don't think has a meaning. Do go back. Okay, so there's story after going back. Okay, let's go back. Feels weird, actually, not hate. Okay. Aufsichtstifla. Do we have to go in the other dams? I'm not sure. Origins was better than Valhalla, and the Pharaoh DLC probably better than this one. Yeah, in terms of story, I would say probably yes. Curse of the Pharaohs had a part in the real world. Was very magical, that one as well. But it was tied to the Apple of Eden. You could make sense of what was happening. I actually liked the story they were trying to tell, even though if it was just some details about the apple changing hands between the pharaohs. Oh, it's all dark. Can you go on? Try and go. Is it gonna still get dark? No, the scene didn't play for you. What? There should have been a scene.
Maybe you need to do all the 3 of them.
Do we have to do all the 3 dance? But I think there should be only one fight. There are 2 dams just go to the same area. Serenica, did you get the cutscene or whatever at the end? No, the scene didn't play for you. Dude, what's happening? Why is it getting dark like entering a boss arena? Yeah, like I don't know. It's well, now it's kind of like evening as well. Anyway, no scene for Serenica as well. The game started. Are you sure? What was the scene about? Was there any kind of conditions for the scene? In the meantime, it should be the same. It's like Odin exiting the portal and looking at the sky. Really? Come on. Oh well. Anyway, we're about to wrap up, so it's time for the final question of our giveaway for today. While Sari is getting ready, I'll remind you for the last time the rules. Basically, you will have to, basically you will have to tweet using the hashtag ATA Labs with the answer to the question that we're going to show you on screen, and also adding the platform that you are competing for. The giveaway is for a code for Dawn of Ragnarok for the DLC only, not the game editions. You need to own Valhalla already in order to make the code work. So get ready on Twitter. I'll get on the hashtag ATA Labs, and let's hope that the bot will not appear again while I am on the hashtag ATA Labs page. Get ready, get your Twitter ready. We're going to show the final question in 3, 2, 1, let's go. How many powers can Odin acquire in the Dawn of Ragnarok DLC? The question is not about how many he can carry at the same time, but how many in total he can acquire in the DLC. Remember to use the hashtag ATA Labs, and I'll check right now who got the first answer, the first correct answer. That is 5 powers, and is it 5 powers? I think it's 5. It's 5 powers, and the answer is correct is by Simon199 or at Simon75. Congratulations. I've seen 4 as answers, 2, 6. Thank you, Sari, for confirming the answer. That is 5 powers. So congratulations, Simon199. Please, I'm happy that you're happy. Congratulations for winning our giveaway. Please write to us to the Twitter account at AccessTheAnimus. Please write to us a direct message so that we can get some more data for you from you in order to send the codes. The codes will be sent either on March the 10th or some days afterwards, depending on when Ubisoft will provide us with. But yeah, pretty much that's it. So congratulations, Simon. So happy that we were able to make some fans happy today. And I'm happy that there's so many people joining when we're having giveaways like this. So we're gonna try and have some more in the future, maybe with some other codes for Dawn of Ragnarok or for something else if the opportunity arises. So thank you guys so much for joining us today. We're gonna wrap up now. It's been almost 2 hours and a half, so it's getting kind of late here as well in Italy. But yeah, I enjoyed every minute of this DLC. I was happy to share my first impressions and how much I dislike the story of this DLC. At least for now, I will go back to it. Soon we're gonna have some analysis about it, and maybe I will change my mind when I get back to the dialogues and documents. I don't think so, because the main gist I got from the story was not that good. But when you get to play, please let us know on our social media or in the comments on our YouTube channel. Please let me and let us know if you're feeling differently about the DLC. Maybe you can find some other elements that I couldn't find personally in the DLC. Atlas is asking, can you check Layla's computer before you leave? Sure, we can. How can we not do that? Do we have to? Okay. We have to. Yes, let's go to the modern day and see what we can do from there. It's that trigger. I might have gotten confused about the secret scene and led Marcus on a wild goose chase. If you're talking about the scene where Odin looks at the sky, there's one scene where he does that, and he's with a character that I will not name because it's spoilery. But I don't. That's part of the main story. I don't think that's it. Yeah, it's 10:54 here in Italy, like for San KJ. Let's see if there's anything here. Doesn't seem to be the case. Is anyone else around? Let's check on Rebecca's desk, but there's the document about Cassandra. Doesn't seem like anything is around. Maybe we can go outside. The documents are all the same. The stuff is still there. Pretty much nothing has changed, I think. The sky seems clearer. Seems more blue. ATA is all about wild goose chases. It's what we do. Yes, Serenica is so right about that. Sometimes we. Oh yeah, let's go here and see that nothing happens. Can we interact in any way? Of course not. Why should we have modern day stuff when we can have magic? Anyway, no new stuff there really. Well, they did say that modern day wouldn't be in the DLC, but come on, a document, anything. It's Basim that is seeing these memories. I mean, could be Layla if you haven't finished the main game. But still, I mean, they had a document and a picture for the crossover, and they did not have anything for this. Super weird. Super weird. It's 1:55 in Cali. Man, we have fans from all over the world. That's so cool. Yeah, Serenica also says that she couldn't find anything in the modern day. So on that sad note, I think we can wrap up the DLC for real this time. So thank you guys so much for this. You need to cancel. Okay. So thank you guys so much for joining us in the stream. I hope you enjoyed having a look at the DLC, sharing some opinions. Like I said, please do let us know how you feel about the DLC when it releases, if you get to play it. It's gonna be always there's something beyond the waterfall, of course. It's gonna be some interesting days and weeks for sure. We're gonna have a review soon. I'm gonna try and have some kind of a video analysis in the future. Probably it's not gonna be as the one that I did for Asgard and Jotunheim. Can get some videos out of this though, so we're gonna try and discuss that. And for the hardcore fans, when you get to play the DLC, do check the area at the center of the map. There's some interesting documents within the houses, so do remember to do that. And on that note, again, but for the last time, thank you guys so much. I will see you again in the next live stream on Monday and in the coming videos on the channel. So keep your eyes on the channel. Take care, have fun, good night or good day wherever you are, and I'll see you next time.